Ireland, known as the land of saints and scholars, home to musicians, artists, writers, performers, and filmmakers. Ireland, like I said, home to saints and scholars, lots of musicians, hundreds, thousands, all over the country. It's innate. It's even our national symbol, the harp. It exists on our currency, on our government documents. For years, bards, poets, writers were vilified. Their instruments were burned and they were murdered out of fear. Fear because they carried the fables, the parables, the metaphors, the stories, the crack, the ceol, but also the news. When children were born with musical abilities, it was believed that they had been possessed by fairies and they needed to bring the music to this realm. These myths, legends, and folklore exist very much in the Irish psyche. What am I talking about? Collectively, this is known as intangible cultural heritage. Tangible cultural heritage is very much about the norms, the customs, and the rituals of the people and the identities of the people who live within a place or a destination. Intangible cultural heritage is used by marketing companies and branding agencies to showcase the identity of a region or a place. It's the pull factor that entices people to come to a country on holidays. An example of intangible cultural heritage in Ireland is the Irish traditional music session. And little do you know, when you go to an Irish traditional music session, there's so much going on within that Irish music session. You can travel from Derry to Kerry, all along the Wild Atlantic Way, or anywhere around Ireland, and listen to Irish traditional music, which is completely different in every particular county. So, for example, I'm from County Sligo. County Sligo is just 1 hour away from Donegal, and the music is completely different in Donegal compared to County Sligo. So the music in County Sligo, for example, is fast-paced. They play a lot of reels and jigs. And in Donegal, there's a Scottish influence due to migration a few hundred years ago, and many people play Highlands and Strathspeys. So the soundscape, I believe, is as important as the landscape when you come to Ireland. In fact, the soundscape and the landscape mirror each other in many ways. And this brings me on to regional styles. Sean O'Reilly, in 1962, had a program on the radio entitled Our Musical Heritage. And this was the first time that we came up with this notion, or he came up with the idea or notion of regional styles. And so right across Ireland now, there's an identity in terms of the styles of music that are played in each region of Ireland. Differences exist within the regions. For example, different instruments are played, different types of music are played, and the pace and the articulation of the music is completely different from region to region. How did the music survive all these years? I mean, Ireland has just been so exposed to famine and war and persecution for years and years and years, and yet people were forced to learn in hedge schools, you know? And so the music survived, but maybe it wouldn't have survived in the way it does today without recording artists. So due to immigration, many, many, many Irish people, as we know, went to live in America, Canada, and Australia. And here are just 3 examples of the many, many recording artists that recorded Irish traditional music throughout the 1920s. In fact, recording began in the early 1900s, but there was a massive push on in that time, just like today, where everybody's in the scramble for creativity and content for their social media platforms. At that time, there was a huge scramble on for the gramophone industry and the radio. They needed content. They needed something to turn on so that you could listen to the box. And so these artists who travelled from Ireland to America in particular became some of the first recording artists in the whole world. And they brought the Irish music to ears of people for the first time, to people who heard it, and they were exposed to it for the very first time. Of course, they were virtuosos, and so it didn't make it easy for us in terms of keeping the tradition alive. So these three guys are actually from County Sligo, and as the crow flies, they live within a 7-mile radius from each other in small townlands. Can you imagine arriving off the boat and landing in America and just being able to walk into a recording studio and record your art? So today, we have a style even in New York known as the Sligo New York style of playing, because many people took on board the music that these guys played and they learned the music from them. So as you can see, without recording music and documenting it, it might not have existed in the form as it does today, and therefore people like us mightn't be playing it for you today at TED. They also highlighted within the music that they brought from their townlands, these little tiny places that the music only existed within. They brought the locations, the place names, they brought the norms and the customs and the rituals with them within the music. Little do you know, when you go to listen to Irish traditional music, there's so much going on. This is an extract from Niall Keegan's PhD, which is entitled Parameters of Style. And in his PhD, he identified so many aspects within Irish traditional music that you can look out for. So in fact, if you tune your ear well enough, you can identify maybe where the person is from, who they learned their music from, and who are they highly influenced by as a result. But now we are in a digital age. I can go onto any social media platform and I can expose myself to music from any part of the world. I can play with all different genres and all different types of people. So this is evolving, like I said, this intangible cultural heritage. It's moving, it's changing. It's changing not only because of technology, it's also changing rapidly because of immigration, migration and movements of people. It's constantly evolving and changing. So here we are. We're in a brand new era of musical access. Again, like I said, there's so much need for content. We need content for our podcasts. We need content for TED. We need content for all these media channels that are out there. So who knows, in 100 years' time at the TED conference on Mars, what we will be listening to. But for now, we're going to play some Irish traditional music for you today, and we have some local musicians who've come and played with us. I met them in the car park. I don't really know them. So, mostly from here, from Donegal and Sligo, but we've thrown in a few other styles from other counties as well, so we wouldn't offend anyone. I'd just like to thank Jordan Lively, Paura Collins and Megan McGinley for coming. They've travelled really long distances to be here today. Thank you.